Joined by Bret Baier, host of Fox News Special Report each night at 6 p.m. And Bret, I may see you today. I'm going to go down to the mall and march with the Friends of Israel. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about Duel Across Time. And I want to tell you why I want to talk about Duel Across Time. Good morning, by the way. Good to have you.
Hey, good morning.
I have a 9-year-old grandson, and he went to, my daughter went to his parent-teacher meeting, and the teacher said, he's really reading quite advanced. He's like in the 10th grade, but he loves graphic novels, and that's all. We got to get him away from graphic novels. And I said, no, you just got to get him to the right graphic. And he loves Big Nate. And you've started this. So this is like made for my grandson. Tell us about Duel Across Time.
Yeah, it's the History Club, Duel Across Time. It's about four friends who met at members of a history club in a middle school. And secretly, they're also tapped to protect history from this villain called the History Twister, who's going back in time to change it. And they were chosen to do this not just because they love history, but because they work together as a team. And in this first series, this first book in the series, the villain has changed history so that Alexander Hamilton won his duel against Aaron Burr, and now he's been branded a criminal. And the team of heroes has to figure out how to fix it. It is really fun. I've never done anything like this. I always tried to do a children's book that was like a rewrite of one of my presidential books. And this time I said, I'm going to do something totally different that kids probably would like. And my kids like it. So that's the test. So it's kind of like 7 to 15. And it's just really well illustrated. Marvin Sianapour. And it's going to be fun, I think. I think
it's going to sell like hotcakes, because my reaction is the same one my parents had when I was a kid, which is if he wants to read comic books, get him the 15-cent comic book, because reading is reading. And graphic novels, I'm glad. I just want him to read, and if that's the current way in which 9-year-olds read, I want him to get good ones. So more power to you. How many of these do you intend to do? Are you going to be like the Goosebumps series of 20 years ago and just churn them out?
I don't know. We definitely are doing 2. We'll see how it goes from there. But, there's real history in here, so that's the other thing, is that we're kind of infusing the real stories of our past in cool ways. And they're bouncing around trying to solve things. And
yeah, I'm going to tell my daughter to take this into the teacher and say, here is the answer. The boys in 4th grade love graphic novels. We'll give them good ones that have content. So it's actually an inspired idea, Bret. Congratulations. Duel Across Time for all you parents and grandparents out there looking for Christmas presents. Now, Bret, tell me about how you're going to cover today. I know you won't march. I'm an opinion journalist. I get to go out and do whatever I want. You're a neutral, and so you cannot go out and march. But I hope you cover this march today, because I think there are going to be tens of thousands of people there.
Yeah, of course. And I had Daniel Krauthammer on last night, who was talking about his dad's writings about Israel and the past moments. And he has really been affected by October 7th and by the fallout from it, and what he's seen in the marches, pro-Palestinian, and what he called pro-Hamas marches in some of these places in the U.S. So he's, one of the people trying to get people out to the march. Anyway, I had him on the show, and we talked about it. I think it's really a big moment. It is a counter to what we've seen around the country, and of course we're going to cover it extensively. And I am a journalist, and I cover both sides, but covering both sides means that you're going to cover this too, and not just all the things we see on college campuses.
FoxNews.com has opened up a silo devoted to anti-Semitism in America. It's the only major legacy media or new media platform that is actually devoted to silo. And silos are a great way to focus the attention of your reader. And I know you folks are very, very committed to covering in depth this issue, and I don't think it will go away. I'm glad Daniel was joining you last night. I didn't see the show last night, so that is a very good thing. I do think a lot of American Jewry is deeply troubled, Bret. Now, I'm not a Jew, and you obviously aren't either, but I'm curious, what do you hear from your Jewish friends? Are they as troubled as mine are?
Yes, very much so. I mean, I think that there is this sense of not just, anti-Israel, but anti-Jew that they're seeing around the country that is far more prolific than I think even they saw and felt. I think that there were always incidents, and they felt anti-Semitism from some times, some corners, but nothing like this in an exposed way. So yeah, I hear it all the time, and I think it's a big deal and a big issue, and we have to be careful of covering things, fairly, but you also have to put things in context. And losing sight of what happened on October 7th is really missing the context.
Yeah. Now I want to talk about debates. You are a skilled...
Well, first of all, let me just interrupt you. I think you did a fantastic job. I really loved the questions, especially on China and that whole riff there. And I thought you guys did a really, really great job. I think I would have liked debate number 3 because
I told everyone that.
People were coloring within the lines a little bit better. And I also think debate 4 and debate 5 are going to be even better as you get fewer and fewer candidates.
That's what I told everyone who said, boy, that was better than debate 2. And I said, well, there were only 5 people and we gave them 90 seconds. And it's just I did one with 13 people once, and it was the worst thing I've ever been. It was like a traffic jam and a collision all at once. And so, Bret, I hope you get back around again, because I think we're going to get down to 2 or 3 pretty quickly. What's your crystal ball say?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised that Tim Scott exited the way he did. I know Trey Gowdy was surprised on his show. If you look at his face and his reaction, and in fact, I was at home and they called me to do a phoner during the interview. They said, this just happened, so I just hopped on the phone and got on the show right after Senator Scott said what he said. So I do think that that's going to happen. I do think that the bar is going to be higher each time. I don't know if how many will be in Alabama, but I know the debate after that could be 2 or 3, and you suddenly get into a much different ball game, and it gives you a lot more leeway. You expand the time. You don't worry about some of the stipulations that you have to do, and you have more of an in-depth discussion, which is, as we've talked about many times, what we're trying to get to.
Now, Bret, what I would hope, and if Ron is listening and David Bossie are listening to RNC, is that when we get down to 2 or 3, they just ask you, Bret, to do it solo, because I just think it's easier to manage. Remember the vice presidential debate between Dick Cheney and Joe Lieberman? I think it was Jim Laird did it. Best debate ever. Best debate ever. Around a table, no audience, one moderator who's fair. Do you think that's the best model?
Well, I actually think for the voter, it is the best model. And, I understand the RNC wants to fill, of arenas, and they want to, all this stuff. But in reality, the best thing for the voter is just the candidates and one moderator. And I was such a big fan of Jim Lehrer, and I took him to lunch a number of times, talking to him about what he thought about, in debates. And I learned a lot just watching him and then talking to him on the side.
Yeah. Jim Lehrer, Brian Lamb, they are my idols for how to do an interview, and a debate in that format would work. I hope it comes to pass. We will see. Bret Baier, congratulations on Duel Across Time, the new History Club graphic novel. It's available in bookstores everywhere, and for Christmas especially. Bret, I'll see you soon. Thank you, my friend.
Okay, see you.